CEO of Retirement Living TV. He's launched a 55-plus voting initiative of forums, town hall meetings, and broadcasts aimed at discussing issues critical to seniors. And he's my guest this morning. Good morning to you.
Good morning, Gretchen.
All right, so you say, look, especially in midterm elections, the president and his administration should not be out rallying the young vote and doing interviews with Rolling Stone magazine. They should be coming after you.
They should be coming after the senior voter. And it's not a group that votes red and blue. It's a group that votes for the structural change in America. And they're very upset right now. If you look at seniors, they've had almost no return on their savings for 4 years. They have had no return on their Social Security. They've lost housing equity, and their 401ks are at risk. And so they're very disturbed that the future of America looks really bleak for their grandchildren, and they're voting for reform.
So when you look at seniors who say they are very interested in this election, 51% right now prefer the GOP to have control of Congress, while 40% say they want Dems in charge. That's a change.
That's a big change. And really, what is underneath that is saying, I don't like where you're leading the country. It's not so much a Republican and Democrat. They want more leadership and more structural change. They want the future to be brighter for their grandchildren. And they're saying, we're not going to send you back to Washington if you're going to do the same old thing, particularly spending money like you're going like a drunken sailor.
So let me ask you this. Do you feel like seniors feel like they're being ignored right now by this administration?
They absolutely do. They feel that they've just been put to the side and taken for granted as usual to say they'll show up and pull the right lever. Let's not pay attention to them. And I think that's where they're going to find out, the politicians are going to find out they were very wrong on that issue, particularly in a midterm election.
Right, because it doesn't necessarily get out the same amount of voters, or at least the young voters.
And the young voters don't really pay attention to the congressional districts and all these things because they're jumping around the country. They don't even know who's running in their districts a lot of times. But the senior voters have been there for years. They're rooted in their politics of their communities, and they know who's running.
Let me ask you about these forums, then, that you decided to set up to get the attention of Congress. You're talking about Social Security. You're talking about Medicare, immigration, education. I imagine more than just Medicare, health care in general. Have you gotten the attention of Congress?
We're getting the attention. It's very slow, and I think we will get more attention after the election when people look back and say, oh my gosh, we should have paid attention to that market. But I'm putting this up in front to say, in a big loud, this is the group you should be paying attention to. And after the fact, I think there'll be a lot stronger realization after November the 2nd.
Well, when I first met you, I said, there's no way that you could be a senior citizen. You look fantastic, by the way. A pleasure speaking with you this morning. John Erickson, the founder and CEO of Retirement Living TV. Great to see you.
Thank you, Gretchen.
Coming up on the show, think good neighborhoods mean good schools. Well, think again why middle-class kids are actually some of the most deprived. But first, on this day in history, in 1963, Jackie Kennedy, widow of President Kennedy, married Greek shipping magnate Aristotle Onassis. In 1973, President Nixon fires Special Prosecutor Archibald Cox and Deputy Attorney General William Ruckelshaus, while Attorney General Elliot Richardson quits in what became known as the Saturday Night Massacre. And in 1963, Jimmy Gilmer had the #1 song. You know what? Sorry to admit it, I don't remember this one. Sugar Shack.
Spend a little cash, make that girl love me when I put on some trash. You can understand why I've gotta get back to that Sugar Shack. Whoa.
This day in history is brought to you by V8. Get 3 of your 5 servings of vegetables today. What's your number?
Funny thing about vegetables, they fill you up without filling you out. V8 Juice gives you 3 of your 5 daily servings of vegetables.
That's what I'm talking about!
V8, what's your number?
You better run to Men's Warehouse. Suits are on sale, including designer brands and big and tall. Buy one and get a second suit for just $100. You're gonna like the way you look, I guarantee it.
10 years to learn the business. 10 years to make a name. 1 year on your own. It takes time to build a small business, but only 60 days to transform it with email marketing from Constant Contact. Sign up with Constant Contact and get 60 days of free email marketing to generate referrals, connect with clients, and build the business you've always wanted. Constant Contact. Start your 60-day free trial today.
My dad fixed things for everyone.
Whose names we never hear, reaching out to help their fellow man.
And me? Well, I just held the light.
If you see
teaching you more than just how to fix things.
A message from the Foundation for a Better Life.
This is the fall of 2008. This is Hank Paulson and Ben Bernanke. And they told us they were taking over AIG the next morning. And they told us that if they did not, they believed there would be a financial collapse. Then we went into the TARP negotiations. I was there when we went almost all Saturday night after several weeks of negotiations. Secretary of the Treasury, Paulson, under Bush, was with us. And he was getting messages.
Now playing on DirecTV Cinema.
This planet is a game preserve. And we're the game.
The hunt begins right now.
They must have a weakness.
Not many.
It's not in your mailbox.
Run!
It's not in that vending machine.
We're gonna kill them all.
It's already in your hands. Why wait when you can watch it right now? Movies start at channel 125.
Now playing on DirecTV Cinema.
You're ready to rent the nightmare.
Sounds like fun.
But it's not in your mailbox yet. And it's not in that vending machine yet. So grab your remote and get ready for Freddy.
Oh, God. No, just me.
Rent Nightmare on Elm Street now with DirecTV Cinema.
Movies playing on channels 125 through 199.
The Affleck answer, Calvin Brodus, also known as Snoop Dogg. The winner, Sonia Reed from Delaware, Ohio. Congratulations. Meanwhile, schools are often a major selling point at picturesque middle-class neighborhoods out in the suburbs. But do higher property taxes really mean better schools? That's the subject of a new documentary we've been talking about.
I think most people want to believe that their children and their education is being well taken care of.
There is a certain public line that they tell, and then usually there's the truth.
People don't want to know the real truth.
So what is the real truth? Are middle-class children actually some of the most deprived? Lance Izumi is the Director of Education Studies for Pacific Research Institute for Public Policy, is the producer of a new documentary, Not As Good As You Think, Myth of the Middle-Class School, and that's what he's joining us right now from San Francisco. Good morning to you, Lance.
Good morning.
Okay, you know, why is it for years we've thought, okay, bad neighborhood equals bad schools? Because according to your work, some really good neighborhoods have some really lousy schools.
Well, I think that most Americans for years have understood that there are a lot of problems in our schools in the inner city. And so that's why they save money. They try and move out to the suburbs where they believe that the schools are good. And unfortunately, what they fail to do is often look at the testing and achievement results at those schools. And what we found in our research is, for example, in California, you have hundreds and hundreds of schools in these pricey middle-class suburbs where the achievement of the students is actually quite low. Students are failing to achieve at the proficient level in English and mathematics. And so you're having a lot of problems with these students going into college not prepared.
All right, you were also featured in the documentary Waiting for Superman, and your part comes about halfway through the film. Why is it that for instance, the suburbs around New York City, people pay a lot in property tax, and the thinking is, we've been told by real estate agents, you want to live here because we've got really good schools. Why aren't the schools as good as they should be, considering all the money we're spending?
Well, I think part of the reason is because parents in those middle-class suburbs tend to think that because the real estate agent, as you say, has sold them on this neighborhood, claiming that the schools are good, that they then believe that and end up not taking an active interest in really looking into whether the performance of that school matches the rhetoric and the sales job that they've been given. And it turns out, if you look at the performance of middle-class children across this country, for example, on the National Assessment of Educational Progress, amongst fourth graders, non-poor students, a majority of fourth graders in this country perform below proficient on that national examination. Yeah. So I think that what middle-class parents need to do is to go beyond the sales pitch and really look at the performance of their schools to make sure that their children are getting the quality education that mortgage payment is supposed to signify.
Well, here, but how do we fix it? Do you agree with Waiting for Superman's premise that really good schools out there, and there are some, they can fire bad teachers, and that the school union's tenure policy is one of the contributing factors to not working out so well.
Yes, I think Davis Guggenheim was quite right to focus on, who's the director of Waiting for Superman, was quite right to focus on these teacher union contracts. They're one of the big problems when it comes to ensuring the quality of instruction in the classroom. In our research, when we looked at union contracts, for example, in California, we found that many of those contracts restricted the evaluation of teachers, and in fact, in one contract we saw in one middle-class suburb in California, the principal was not allowed to go into a classroom unannounced, and if he did announce that he or she was going to go into the classroom to view what the teacher was doing, he or she was only allowed to be in there for 4 minutes. So I think that it's really important for people to understand that just because they live in a middle-class suburb, that the teacher union contract can be just as restrictive as any contract in a city.
Excellent points. All right. Lance Izumi from the Pacific Research Institute, thank you, sir, for joining us today from San Francisco.
Thank you so much.
All right. Straight ahead on Fox and Friends, coming up at the top of the hour, Geraldo Rivera live in Afghanistan with an exclusive interview. He's talking to General David Petraeus on the same day as the Taliban entering peace talks with the Afghan government. What's that about? And taking from the wealthy and giving to the poor, the same old song from Nancy Pelosi in her latest push to spread the wealth.
Let's get Chinese.
Should we order Panda Blossom, Panda Moon?
How about Chinese at home with Wan Chai Ferry? You can make it in just 14 minutes.
Orange chicken.
Great.
I didn't feel like going out anyway.
Wan Chai Ferry, restaurant quality Chinese in your grocer's freezer.
Kids who don't eat breakfast may not be getting the nutrition they need to keep their bodies strong. Carnation Instant Breakfast Essentials supplies the nutrients of a balanced breakfast to help build strong muscles and healthy bones. Carnation Instant Breakfast Essentials. Good nutrition from the start.
When was your last free stay at a hotel? With La Quinta's reward program, La Quinta Returns, you get free nights fast and upgraded status after just 10 nights. Make your next stay count at La Quinta Inns and Suites. Join and book now at lq.com.
La Quinta. Land Rover LR4.